Okay, good morning, Commissioner. It is March 14th, 2021. And needless to say, around the state, around the country, and around the globe this week, we have acknowledged that we've been in the COVID-19 pandemic for a year. And over the past 2 weeks, I think you've experienced as our commissioner, and we've experienced as an agency, some of the highest of highs and lowest of lows. So what is your message to our staff?
So, I went and got my green jacket because it reminds me of St. Patrick's Day, and that's kind of the when the world turned upside down last year. A lot of those celebrations didn't happen. There's always like lots of big parades and a big party time, and um, a year later, here we are. None of us could have imagined that we would still be talking a year later. However, I have been very reflective this week because we set up the COVID-19 mailbox right away, and we wanted to hear from our staff, and we said to them, let us know what's happening out there,
Yeah.
because we were kind of unsteady on our feet. And next week during our next video, we're going to get into a little bit more of what has happened over the last year. But over the last week, things have been tough.
They have.
um,
They have.
um, I am I'm reminded every day of why we do this work, and the intensity by which we, take every single case, every single function, every single interaction that we have. We've had some tremendous successes with, this week I got to speak at the signing of the Crown Act. We've
Hmm.
talked about that in a couple of videos ago. And I also got to see um, a really nice permanency video out of Region 4 that
Region
had
4.
everything from reunifications to adoptions and everything in between. And as we think about, helping kids and families achieve permanency, it really put a smile on my face.
Yeah.
We had
Yeah.
some pretty interesting testimony during our legislative public hearings. We did our first appropriations hearing. And again, for all the staff that are watching, we're virtual. We're
Yeah.
not over at the Capitol. We're not over at the LOB. So if you have time to catch any of the public hearings as they happen, you want to see and hear what's happening in some of the other committees, or hear the ones that DCF is involved in, and hear our testimony to hear the different things that are happening with the
Yeah.
department. You should tune in. Um, and we've muddled through that pretty effectively, I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then we had some pretty high profile cases this week. I know our staff has seen um, media representation of some of our work. And we
Yes.
always know that for as much as we have tried to create our own narrative as it
Yep.
relates to the work that we do, we know that there's always a spin, and there's always things that can't be said in public out of respect
Right.
for the people and the families that are involved. But, I listen differently, and I look at those headlines differently. And I want to take that tension and that heat that sometimes gets directed towards our agency, because I want to protect our staff from feeling the judgments that come from people that don't know our work.
Yep.
I'm
Yep.
so proud of the work that happens here within this agency. And when those things happen, they give you the highest of the highs, and sometimes the lowest of the lows. But we're resilient, and I know we've done some top-notch work. And speaking of that, we had our work, the work of Connecticut,
Yep.
highlighted by Children's Rights,
Yep.
who did a position paper related to um, families over facilities was the title of the piece, and we'll share
Yep.
it in our memo. But it really highlighted the work of congregate care reduction, and lifted up Connecticut as
Sure did.
a
Sure did.
jurisdiction to, really emulate. And so when I think about the work that we do and the values that we set behind this work, I think about our provider community, particularly those in our congregate providers that know that that level of care is necessary and needed sometimes
Yeah.
when children need treatment and need a safe place to be. And they've been right there with us,
Yep.
right through the pandemic, right through all of our shifts to get our congregate care numbers pretty low, and
Yep.
that we recognize recognize and they recognize the value of family. So, I appreciate our providers for hanging in there with us. And I just appreciate the work and I appreciate our workforce. And so in Social Work Appreciation Month, all the other people that support our social workers, this is humbling work.
It is. It is. And it's Social Work Appreciation Month, as you mentioned. It's also Women's History Month, and how wonderful it was that you were there side by side with Governor Lamont signing at the signing of the Crown Act. Your speech and your words were fantastic, and it has been a humbling week. And like you, I'm reminded why we're here, every single day when I walk into the office or connect with somebody virtually. And as you've said, we just need to stay the course. We need to learn. We need to keep moving forward. Our staff getting tired, and I think that brings us to another topic, right? We're going to use the race analogy. I think.
So
here we go.
My our partners over at DDS, we often share just tidbits of how we're keeping going throughout all of this. And Commissioner Shep over at DDS shared a metaphor that he used in his all staff communication this week that I kind of want to co-op. And and it's this metaphor related to a relay race. Ken, you're more of a runner than I am. I'm not a runner. And so when I shared this with him, it resonated. So, why don't you start?
So I think really the analogy is that when you're doing a relay race, you have partners and everybody takes a particular leg. So first of all, you're starting out, you're going around the track and it's new. So you're getting warmed up, you're getting the legs under you. Now you're on your second leg and you're doing okay. You may be finding your rhythm a little bit. Now you're in the third leg and you're getting tired because you've been pushing so hard. And you'll get that extra boost in the fourth leg when you can definitively see the finish line is coming. And I think to translate that for our staff, a year ago was the first leg, maybe midsummer was the second leg. We're in that third leg now. We don't see the finish line clearly yet.
And we're tired.
We're tired.
We're sucking wind.
We're tired.
That the third leg of the race, I think, requires the will. It requires us to dig deep. It requires us to, kind of remember and envision what we're in. You think about this race and the reason why we're in it. And so for us, the reason why we're in this work is because of the mission critical responsibilities that we have. And, we've been able to see some really, really good work happening on behalf of children and families and keeping them safe. And, that metaphor is not lost on me. That COVID fatigue has set in. Without question, it has set in. I think about myself. I'm tired. We went from being anxious to fearful to excited to uncertain. The layers of the changes in the rules sometimes in terms of, hurry up and wait. And, we think that we're going to have information to share that we don't, or things that change on a federal level or on a local level that we have to try to translate the changes in the vaccine distribution. While Connecticut is picking up on its supply, and the decision to kind of go to age-based really changed some of our staff's designation from, thinking that you were kind of next up to having to wait a little bit longer. But in the long run, we all have that opportunity to give ourselves some grace and just give ourselves some permission to feel the fatigue, but in a way that allows us to be supportive of each other, to go easy on each other, because I think sometimes we might be inclined to snap at someone or to respond in a way that's less than professional in a work setting. Check in on each other virtually, not in person, because we know that sometimes that has impacted things. Refresh yourself in this third leg. We see some transmissions when we share the themes at the end of the video. We see like that there have been a couple of times where people are wearing cloth masks again, surgical masks, bringing extra masks for family members that you may be coming in contact with, bringing the face shields for people who choose not to wear masks while you're out there, all those things that we've been saying for the last month. You get tired of that, and when we're at home, you might want to just run out to the grocery store with the cloth mask. The expectation for work is that we expect everyone to have the surgical masks on. So, we're almost at that
We
fourth
are.
leg, you guys. We're almost
We,
there.
we are. And I appreciated what you said, taking care of ourselves and others, not just our physical health, but our emotional and our psychological health as well. That's going to get us there. It's going to
Yep.
get us there.
Yep.
So, Commissioner, before we move into the statistics, I always have trouble saying that word. Is there anything else that you would like to say to staff and impart upon them during this video?
Hang in there. Hang in there. Happy St. Patrick's Day coming up. We're going to continue to appreciate you in Social Work Month, Women's History Month. You guys are trailblazers out there. We have a largely female workforce. We've got some tremendous guys that kind of help balance us sometimes, but social work tends to be a largely female profession. So when you think about Women's History Month, think about the ways that we make a difference every single day. And just know that even when our work gets tough, we're here. We got you covered. And, I couldn't be more proud of the work that comes out of Connecticut Department of Children and Families. And I say it every time I get a chance.
Awesome. Awesome. So for those of you out there who do not wish to hear the updated statistics, now is the time that you can shut off the video. And Commissioner, the most updated numbers are since the beginning of the pandemic a year ago, we've had 335 caregivers that have tested positive, 257 of our youth, and 331 staff members.
Yeah, one of the unique pieces of information that we got this week from our medical division, Dr. Taylor shared with me that we had our first child in care that was diagnosed with that the multi-system inflammatory syndrome.
Yep.
Say that 5 times fast. It's abbreviated like MIS-C or something. And our medical division is just so on it. Every child that we've had test positive or had symptoms of that, testing for the antibodies and determining what course of treatment a child will need. So shout out to Dr. Taylor and her staff for staying on top of that. But that was a unique, again, new piece of information that this has come to us. So this is I don't even know what to say anymore. We've lost.
You know what? It's scary, and there's new things that pop up, and contact tracing leads us at times to many different areas that we haven't encountered before. But as you just said, we will get through this. We'll be stronger on the other side. And I think we always want to say we are learning so much about our work, about the strength of our staff, about how smart people are when we put our heads together, that we're going to be positioned to be so strong at the end of all this, and better, and be in a better position to help children and families in greater degree. So
yeah, I think about our staff that has worked throughout the pandemic in person. So our facility staff and our Caroline staff who have been there in person all the time. And when I talked about the metaphor of the race, those folks probably are experiencing the fatigue the most. But overall, I just want to make sure that we view this last leg of the race as the shot of adrenaline that all of us are going to need to just help propel kids and families out of this, and help propel our workforce out of this. So yep, here we are a year later.
Here we are. Commissioner, have a great couple weeks, and we'll see you in a couple weeks.
Yep, have a good rest of the weekend. Take care, Ken.
Bye-bye.